A Fortune 500 company's quarterly board meeting was proceeding routinely when everything changed at this moment. One independent director asked a simple question: what happens if our AI makes a decision that costs us $50 million? The room went silent. For the next 90 minutes, this board had their first real conversation about AI risk. And what happened reveals exactly how corporate directors are grappling with artificial intelligence and why board level AI oversight has become the defining factor between companies that thrive and those that fail in the AI era. Let's dig down further. Most boards think they have AI governance, but industry data reveals a dangerous reality. The meeting started like hundreds of others: 12 directors around a table, quarterly report stacked, presentation titled Q3 Performance Review. The CEO was midway through slide 7 when an independent director, a former investment banking partner, raised her hand and interrupted about the company's AI system that had processed 2.3 million consumer interactions that quarter, asking who's liable if it discriminates against protected classes. The CEO shifted uncomfortably. The general counsel looked up from his notes. The CEO paused for 15 seconds, an eternity in boardroom's time, and responded, "Well, we have compliance protocols in place." "That's not what I asked," the director continued. "I want to know the specific dollar amount of our exposure," she asked further. This moment illustrates what PwC's 2024 annual corporate directors survey found. Nearly 70% of directors trust their management's execution skills on AI, but only 50% feel informed about AI-related risks. The gap between confidence and knowledge creates what risk experts call governance blindness. This gap between AI policies and board understanding has already cost companies millions of preventable breaches. But what happened next exposed an even deeper problem the most boards don't realize exists. In the same boardroom, a manufacturing veteran's confession revealed why even experienced directors feel lost with AI governance. Another board member, a veteran with 30 years of operational experience, leaned forward with obvious frustration and expressed that how he had run factories with million-dollar equipment, managed global supply chains, and overseen 10,000-person workforce. But he had no idea how to evaluate whether the AI was making good decisions or terrible ones, questioning how he was supposed to fulfill his ethical obligations. This wasn't an isolated confession. Directors consistently express 3 core anxieties about AI oversight. First, technical illiteracy. Unlike other business functions, AI operates in systems that even experts struggle to explain. Secondly, liability uncertainty. Traditional risk frameworks don't account for systems that learn and evolve independently. And third, competitive pressure. Directors feel compelled to approve AI investments they don't fully understand because competitors are moving faster. The company's general counsel attempted to provide context, explaining that the AI vendor had completed a bias audit 6 months ago and found no discriminatory patterns. The independent director wasn't satisfied, questioning who conducted the audit, what methodology they used, and what their liability would be if they were wrong. Silence stretched for 30 seconds. Recent IBM research shows that 97% of organizations experiencing AI-related security incidents lacked proper AI access controls, and 63% had no governance policies in place. But what this company discovered about their actual AI exposure would completely reshape their understanding of governance. The former CTO's questions revealed the fundamental flaw in most AI governance approaches. The breakthrough came when another board member, a former CTO of a healthcare technology company, pulled out her tablet and asked to see the AI decision logs for the past month, wanting 10 specific instances where the systems made autonomous decisions that affected customer outcomes. The CEO looked confused when she mentioned decision logs. The former CTO explained that every AI system generates an audit trail, and if they couldn't trace individual decisions back to specific inputs, And logic paths, they had no governance framework. They were essentially running a $12 million system that makes thousands of daily decisions they couldn't explain to regulators, customers, or shareholders. This moment exemplifies what separates effective boards from struggling ones. They shift from asking, "Is our AI working?" to, "Can we prove our AI is working responsibly?" The distinction is critical for fiduciary duty or ethical obligations, in other words. The former CTO continued by asking about their AI systems, false positive rates for customer complaints, and false negatives. How many legitimate complaints get dismissed incorrectly, noting that if their false negative rate was above 8%, they were likely violating customer protection regulations in 12 states. The room dynamic changed instantly. Directors started taking notes. The CEO asked his assistant to conference in the CTO. What she introduced was the concept of AI accountability architecture, the framework that leading companies use to manage algorithmic decisions with board level visibility. 3 weeks later, an emergency board meeting would transform this company's entire approach to AI governance. The emergency session revealed the systematic approach that separates AI leaders from AI procrastinators. 3 weeks after that initial confrontation, the same board reconvened for an emergency session. They had hired an AI governance consultant who presented what she called the board-ready AI framework, a systematic approach used by Fortune 500 companies that manage AI at the governance level. The consultant's presentation started with sobering data. Optimizations with high levels of shadow AI usage experience an average of $670,000 in additional breach costs compared to those with proper governance. More importantly, companies with formal frameworks generate measurably better returns on AI investment because they can scale systems with confidence. The framework consists of 4 pillars that translate technical complexity into board digestible metrics. First, the AI risk dashboard. Quarterly reports showing bias detection rates, system performance metrics, and regulatory compliance scores. Second, the decision audit protocol. Monthly reviews of high-impact AI decisions with clear accountability chains. Third, the stakeholder impact assessment. Quarterly analysis of how AI decisions affect customers, employees, and communities. Fourth, the strategic AI roadmap. Annual planning that aligns AI capabilities with business objectives and risk tolerance. The independent director immediately grasped the implications and further said, "This gives us the same visibility into AI that we have for financial risk, operational risk, and strategic risk. And we can finally ask informed questions and make evidence-based decisions." The implementation timeline follows a 90-day deployment model that companies can execute without disrupting ongoing operations. And 6 months later, the results would exceed everyone's expectations and create a competitive advantage. Operational AI governance transformed from cost center to profit driver in ways no one anticipated. 6 months later, the same board approved a $50 million expansion of the AI capabilities, but this time with full visibility into the risk controls and accountability measures. The confidence came from data and not hope. But something unexpected happened during the expansion. While competitors struggled with AI governance theater, like policies without operational controls, this company had built the infrastructure to use AI safely at scale. They could deploy AI tools faster than anyone in their industry while maintaining enterprise-grade security and compliance. Clients began choosing them specifically because they could demonstrate AI maturity. In regulated industries like healthcare and finance, the ability to prove safe AI usage became a deal-winning differentiator. The company's sales team started leading presentations with the AI governance capabilities rather than treating it as a compliance checkbox. The market took notice. The transformation culminated when a private equity firm acquired the company at a premium valuation. The acquirer's explicit reasoning were, "We are buying your AI governance maturity, that capability is worth more than the technology in today's market. But here's the strategic insight. Operational AI governance isn't just about risk mitigation. It's about innovation acceleration. When employees can use AI tools confidently within clear operational guardrails, AI adoption happens faster. Projects deploy smoother and business value increases dramatically. The acquisition premium reflected a broader market trend where AI governance maturity has become a measurable business asset. But the window for building the competitive advantage is rapidly closing due to regulatory changes. While most companies debate whether they need AI governance, regulators are making it legally mandatory with unforgiving timelines. The regulatory landscape that boards navigate today represents a fundamental shift in how AI oversight will be enforced. The European Union's AI Act, effective August 2024, creates binding obligations for AI systems used by companies operating in European markets. The legislation requires continuous monitoring and control mechanisms and operational requirements and not policy language. US regulators are following the suit. The 2025 executive order emphasizes practical implementation and measurable outcomes in AI governance. Federal agencies are developing audit standards that will distinguish between governance theater and governance reality. Companies with policy-only approaches will face massive compliance costs when they need to build operational systems under regulatory pressure. But the deeper issue is competitive survival. As AI becomes foundational to business operations, companies without operational governance face exclusion from major deals, partnerships, and regulated markets. The regulatory timeline is unforgiving. EU enforcement in full effect by 2026 and US frameworks emerging throughout 2025. Looking ahead, three trends will reshape how boards approach AI governance. First, regulatory convergence. Most developed economies will have harmonized AI compliance requirements. Second, stakeholder activism. Environmental and social governance frameworks are expanding to include algorithmic justice metrics. Third, competitive differentiation. Companies that master AI governance will use their capabilities to enter regulated industries that competitors can't safely navigate. Companies have roughly 18 months to move from governance theater to governance reality before it becomes a compliance crisis rather than competitive advantage. Which brings us to the urgent question every board must answer. How do you build operational governance before it's too late? Based on successful AI governance implementation, there's a specific blueprint that transforms policies into operational reality. The most effective approach follows a 90-day rapid deployment model that has been proven across multiple industries. This isn't theory. It's the exact process being used by companies that have successfully defended against AI-powered attacks and regulatory scrutiny. The first 30 days is what I call discovery phase. Conduct comprehensive AI tool inventory, scanning using network monitoring, employee surveys, and vendor assessments. Most companies discover 3 to 5 times more AI usage than expected. Deploy real-time monitoring for AI traffic patterns and establish baseline metrics without judgment. Truth comes before solutions. The next 30 days is classification phase. Implement contextual data sensitivity frameworks through scenario-based trainings and not policy documents. Deploy real-time prompting systems that provide warnings during AI interaction. Create automated sensitivity detection protocols and AI-specific data classification standards that account for inference risks. And the last phase of 90 days is called response phase. Develop AI-specific incident response protocols covering prompt injections, data contamination, model manipulation, and inference attacks. Establish clear escalation procedures and train security teams on AI threat vectors through tabletop exercises. The implementation requires board-level commitment but doesn't disrupt ongoing operations. Companies following this blueprint achieve measurable results like faster project approvals, reduced compliance delays, and improved risk assessment capabilities. Organizations implementing operational governance frameworks demonstrate significant competitive advantages in both risk mitigation and innovation velocity. But the most critical factor determining success is in the frameworks. It's a decision about when to start. Every day, boards delay building operational AI governance, exposure increases, and competitive advantage decreases. The conversation in that boardroom is happening in companies across every industry. Directors are grappling with the same questions, facing the same uncertainties, and searching for practical frameworks that translate AI complexity into governance clarity. Current reality is while 70% of directors trust management's AI execution skills, only 50% receive sufficient information on AI risks, and 63% of organizations lack governance policies. That gap represents massive opportunity for companies that act decisively and massive risk for companies that wait. The strategic choice facing every board is: will you build operational governance as a competitive advantage or implement it as regulatory compliance? Early movers get market positioning, customer trust, and premium valuations. Late adopters get rushed implementations, higher costs, and catch-up positioning. Your immediate action items are: CISO should launch AI tool discovery audits immediately. Business leaders should assess current AI usage patterns across departments. Board members should evaluate governance implementation timelines against regulatory deadlines and competitive pressures. The companies that act decisively in the next 90 days will define the competitive landscape for the next decade. Right now, employees at organizations worldwide are inputting confidential information into AI systems. Most think they are being productive. Some are unknowingly creating catastrophic vulnerabilities. The board's journey from confusion to confidence illustrates a transformation happening in boardrooms worldwide. Directors are discovering that AI governance isn't just about preventing disasters. It's about enabling sustainable innovation at scale. The AI governance arms race is here. Winners build operational reality and procrastinators maintain policy theater. If this deep dive into board level AI governance revealed gaps you didn't know existed, hit like and subscribe for weekly cybersecurity and AI security insights that cut through vendor hype and provide actionable intelligence. What's your biggest AI governance challenge? Are you struggling with discovery gaps, not knowing what AI tools your organization uses, or classification gaps where employees can't identify sensitive data in AI contexts, or response gaps? Absolutely no availability of AI-specific incident playbooks? Share your experience in the comments. I've created a comprehensive board AI governance implementation guide that includes the 90-day roadmap, audit checklist, and frameworks discussed in the video. Download link is in the description. It's completely free with specific templates you can use this week. Until then, stay strategic and keep building the operational governance that turns AI risk into competitive advantage. Stay secure.